Good evening. Tonight, we go after the story of an extraordinary personality. He's Salvador Dali, the great surrealist painter who sees the world through surrealist eyes. If you're curious to hear Salvador Dali talk about decadence, death, and immortality, about his surrealist art, his politics, and his existence before he was born, we'll go after those stories in just a moment. And now to our story. Salvador Dali is a self-confessed genius with an ingenious flair for publicity. An internationally renowned modern artist, he's also designed fur-lined bathtubs, he's lectured with his head enclosed in a diving helmet, and he claims that at the basis of his ideas are, as he puts it, cauliflowers and rhinoceros horns. He paints like this. Here you see perhaps his most famous work. It's called Persistence of Memory. In contrast to this dreamlike picture, here is Dali's surrealistic commentary on the horrors of war. It's called The Face of War. And now an example of Dali's latest phase, the crucifixion, showing his current preoccupation with religious subjects. Now let's try to find out some more about the enigma of Salvador Dali. Dali, first of all, let me ask you this. You're a remarkable painter, and you've dedicated your life to art. In view of this, why do you behave the way that you do? For instance, you have been known to drive in a car filled to the roof with cauliflowers. You lectured, as I mentioned, once with your head enclosed in a diving helmet and you almost suffocated. You issue bizarre statements about your love for rhinoceros horns and so on. You're a dedicated artist. Why do you, or why must you, do these things?
Because this kind of eccentricities correspond to the more important and the more tragical part of my life.
The more important and the more tragical part? I don't understand.
The more philosophical.
Well, what is philosophical about driving in a car full of cauliflowers or lecturing inside
because
a diving
discovered make one tremendous speech, almost pseudoscientific, in the Sorbonne in Paris, about my discovering of the logarithmic curve of cauliflowers.
The what?
Logarithmic spiral of
yes.
cauliflower.
The logarithmic curve, yes.
And in the same time, the logarithmic spiral in the horn of rhinoceros. In this time, discover this is the symbol of chastity, one of the most powerful symbols of modern times.
Chastity is one of the most powerful symbols of modern times?
In my opinion, is the more urgent and the more dramatic. Because the chastity represents the force of spirit.
And lecturing...
This is the reason that the priest is chaste in any religion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because avec the promiscuity, the people make love, is no more spiritual strength, no more spiritual force.
Yes. Well, we will get to your spirituality, your increasing spirituality over the years in just a moment. About lecturing with your head enclosed in a diving helmet. Why? Why?
Because in this moment, like, the audience understand that Dali penetrate in the bottom of subconscient mind.
What's that?
Penetrate.
Penetrate.
In the bottom of subconscient mind, in the sea. In the inside of the sea.
Yes, down in the sea.
In the profundeur of subconscious.
In the depth of the subconscious.
Exactly.
Yes.
Alors, this is one very clear symbol for arrive in this stage of...
We try to understand, in all seriousness, we try to understand you, and you try to explain. But earlier this week, you told our reporter, I like to be a clown, a buffoon. I like to spread complete confusion. Before we went on the air, you said to me, ask embarrassing questions. Ask embarrassing questions.
The more as possible.
Why?
Because
why?
Because suddenly make one movie in France.
Yeah.
In this movie, myself dance Charleston. And my friends looked this piece of movie and told, Dali in this part is much better than Charlie Chaplin. For me, it's very interesting.
Well, are you about...
Because Dali is one marvelous painter. In the same time, is one marvelous gloom. Is 1,000 times much more interesting for everybody.
You want to be a marvelous clown as well as a marvelous painter?
If it's possible, the two together is very good, you know. Charlie Chaplin is one genial clown, but never paint the same que Dali. Or see Dali.
So what you want to do
the
is...
same que Charlie Chaplin, in the same time, paint masterpieces. Our Dali is 1,000 times much more important than Charlie Chaplin.
Well, now wait. Despite your hijinks, time and again you have called yourself a genius, and you're very serious about this. Now you want to be you want to be a genius in two fields. First of all, you have called yourself a genius,
in
yes?
many different fields, you know.
You?
Yes.
What else besides an artist?
The more important in my life, more que le clown, more que le painting, more que my draftsmanship is my personality.
Draftsmanship?
My personality is more important than every of these little facets of my activity.
In other words, what is most important to you
is my personality.
Is
Dali.
Expressing Dali.
Dali.
Not the painting, not the clowning, nothing but...
The painting, the clowning, the showmanship, the technique, everything is only one manner for express the total personality of Dali.
I see. Let's take a look at one of your major paintings, Dali. It's called Sleep. There it is now on the monitor. What's the point of this picture? Is there any point?
This is very important because myself work constantly in the moment of sleep. Every of my best ideas coming through my dreams, and the more Dalinian activity consists in this moment of sleep.
In other words, you conceive a good deal of your...
The more important things happen in the moment of myself sleep.
I was going to ask if there was any major theme, any powerful idea which inspires all your work. Could you tell us what it was? Evidently, what it is simply an expression of Dali, period. There is nothing more in it, or am I wrong?
No, of Dali, of cosmogony of Dali.
The what?
The cosmogony.
Cosmogony?
Cosmogony of Dali.
What is the cosmogony? What does that mean?
This is in advance of new nuclear physics, because every of my paintings, everybody laughs in the moment of look for the first time, but almost after 12 years, every scientific people recognize that every of these painting is one real prophecy. In the moment of paint my salt watches, is the more rigid object for everybody, and myself paint these watches the same very soft camembert. Everybody laughs. The last development of nuclear physics proved that the new conception of space-time is completely flexible. Not only this, in the microphysics, the time works in reverse. This proves that this object of completely surrealistic approach of soft watches is completely true and scientific.
Dali, I must confess, you lost me about halfway through, and I'm not sure that we can... Let me try it another way. What does a painter, what does any painter contribute to the world and to his fellow man? Any painter, not just Dali. What does a painter contribute?
Every painter paints the cosmogony of himself.
Of himself. And it's as simple as that.
Exactly.
Which contemporary...
Raphael paints the cosmogony of Raphael. Raphael is the Renaissance period.
Yes.
Dali paints the atomic age and the Freudian age. Nuclear scenes and psychoanalytic scenes.
Which contemporary painters, if any, do you admire?
First Dali, after Dali, Picasso, and after this, the others.
But these, Dali and Picasso, are the only two that really...
The two
really
only
excite
big
you.
geniuses of modern times.
The two geniuses of modern times are Dali and Picasso. In your autobiography, you wrote this. You said, I adore three things: weakness, old age, and luxury. Why?
Because the luxury is one product of monarchy. And myself, every day, becoming more monarchic. Not in political way, because never is Dali is interested in politics.
In politics, yeah.
But in philosophical and cosmogonical way, yes.
All right.
Because in the modern science, the new discoveries of chromosomes and physics and biology, everything prove that the monarchy is the more luxurious things in the life.
The most luxurious. All right. Now, old age.
And the most perfect.
And the most perfect. And old age? Why do you adore old age?
Because believe that the young people is completely stupid, you know?
Young people are stupid.
It's only necessary, only believe some old people, the same as Leonardo da Vinci, or arrive at some real achievement.
And weakness. Why do you adore weakness?
Because in the modern physics, everything is weak. You know, it's everything, every proton, antiproton, neutron, p meson.
What do you mean
is
weak?
surrendered of weakness, of nothing. In this moment, the most fantastic thing in physics is the antimatter. Every new physician talk about antimatter. Dali painted 20 years ago the first antimatter angels.
You write in your biography that death is beautiful. What's beautiful about death? Why is death beautiful?
This is one feeling. Everything is erotic, in my opinion.
Everything is what?
Is erotic.
Erotic.
Is ugly. Immediately, so arrive the feeling of death. Everything becoming noble and sublime.
Oh, in other words, life is erotic and therefore ugly. Death is not erotic, but sublime, therefore beautiful.
And beautiful.
Ah.
You know, for instance, you, Mickey Wallace, now is you a little good face, a little handsome, but incidentally, you becoming dead.
Yes.
Everybody take out the chapeau, you becoming one fantastic man. Everybody respect you 1,000 times much better, you know.
Are you making?
Is
Is this by way of a suggestion, sir?
Exactly. See, you make one striptease, you're becoming ugly in 1 second.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Tell me this, what do you think will happen to you when you die?
Myself no believe in my death.
You will not die?
No believe in general in the death, but in the death of Dali, absolutely no. Not. She believe in my death becoming very unfried is almost impossible.
You fear death?
Yes.
Death is beautiful, but you fear death.
Exactly. Because Dali is contradictory and paradoxical in anything.
Well, yes, indeed, Dali is paradoxical and contradictory, but why this fear of death? What do you fear in death, Dali?
Because there's no sufficient convince of my fight in religion. There's no, in the moment of my self-belief more.
You're not sufficiently convinced of your faith
Exactly.
in religion. Well, now, I spoke with you about a year ago, and we talked about religion, and you said that as the years go by, you embrace Roman Catholicism more and more with your mind, but not yet completely with your heart.
This is true.
Why not?
Because perhaps it's my early intellectual trend and formation. But now, every day is more approach of this real feeling of religion. Just 1 month ago is one tremendous operation of appendix,
Yes.
broken appendix. After this operation, becoming 3 times more religious than before.
How old are you, Dali?
Never remember exactly, 54 or 53 or something.
Are you formally involved with your religion? Do you go to church a good deal? Do you pray? Do you...
Every day more, but there's no sufficiently. You know?
Not sufficiently. Have you ever had a supernatural vision?
Hallucinatory things, but no supernatural.
No supernatural. An article about you mentioned your fear of death. An article about you in Life magazine once said that you're afraid of almost everything, from ocean liners to grasshoppers. The article said you won't buy shoes because you don't like to take off your shoes in public, and that when you go out, you carry a little piece of Spanish driftwood, which you keep to ward off evil spells.
Yes, because remain very, very superstitious, but this is, I'm sure, is common of every Spanish people, you know. Spanish people is very superstitious.
Do you know anything about politics at all? You say you don't care about them. Do you know anything about them? Do you know, for instance, who the Prime Minister of Great Britain is?
Yes, but no, not taking care of this. Because for me, the important thing is look the philosophical events of every moment. And now is absolutely sure, for instance, that the monarchy is restored in Spain very shortly.
You think it will be?
Prince Juan Carlos, que Franco agree with this restoration. Is absolutely convincing that the monarchy coming back in France very shortly, after one military, perhaps one de Gaulle period or military.
Do you know who the Vice President of the United States is? Can you name?
Mr. Nixon. Yes, but it's possible. No, but it's possible. Perhaps tomorrow you put this in question and
you would not.
Answer, you know.
What do you enjoy doing most? Do you like to talk, to paint, to eat, to think? What do you like to spend your time doing, Dali?
My manner of spend my time avec le more joy, the more delectable, is becoming every day a little more Dali.
A little more Dali.
Because in the beginning of my life, you remember, like becoming Napoleon.
First you wanted to be
a
cooking. First you wanted to be a cook, then you wanted to be Napoleon.
Cooking woman. One woman cooking, you know?
You wanted to be a woman cooking?
Exactly. No one man, one woman cooking. Second, like it becoming Napoleon.
Napoleon.
Later one, like it becoming Dali. Now is every day more Dali.
In a moment, I'd like to ask you about an extraordinary power which you claim that you have. You've written that you can remember your thoughts and your feelings before you were born. And I'd like to know what those thoughts and feelings were. And we'll get Salvador Dali's answer in just 60 seconds. Now then, Dali, you said that you can remember not only things that happened to you in your infancy, but even your feelings before you were born. What were they? What did you think about? What did you feel?
I remember very clearly many images, also not only in black and white, but in glorious technicolor.
I see. And what specifically? Now, what were some of these things?
Some phosphorescent X, luminous X. Told about these visions of Dr. Freud in London. Freud tell me that it is absolutely true is the origin of intrauterine memories. Probably my position, fetal position, my pupils is very hurt by my hands. Depend on my position.
Was it, what was it like? Was it pleasant before you were born?
It's completely paradise.
Paradise?
It's the best moment, the more divine images. In the moment of born, is the moment of the paradise is lost. This is always the theory of Otto Rank.
Well, under those circumstances, I find it difficult to understand your fear of death. If the moment of being born was paradise lost, perhaps death for you will be paradise regained. And therefore, I would think that you would...
This is my hope, but is not absolutely sure. This is the trouble. See, the death is again the reconquer of this paradise. This is excellent, but it's not sure yet.
Do you enjoy yourself as you live? You like yourself? You think, you say that you are a genius. Certainly you have had the
I enjoy my life every day more.
You do?
Every week more. Because observe Dali, my admiration for Dali becoming tremendous.
Yes. What kind of dreams do you have? What are they about, Dali?
Every time it's very agreeable and creative. The last dreams is about the antimatter angels. Perhaps for 5 months only dream about archangels, angels, kings, and the most beautiful spectacle.
You seem to be a mild-mannered man, are you?
Please don't understand. Mild?
Are you a mild man? Are you a pleasant man to deal with? Are you a friendly man? You seem to be a mild man. An easy man.
Everybody loves Dali very much.
Everybody loves Dali.
Sympathetic and...
But your paintings, they're frequently violent. And you've written that in your private life, You have had sudden impulses to injure people. As a child, you kicked people. You threw a friend off a rocky ledge. As an adult, you confess that you once kicked a legless beggar along a street.
Exactly. But this is my adolescence period. Now becoming much more quiet in this kind of sadistic scenes.
Yes.
Is the contrary. After my religious feelings becoming more strong,
Yes.
these sadistic scenes of my adolescence disappear almost completely.
Is that so? And when you were a young man, too, you used to try to hurt. You were masochistic as well as sadistic. You used to try to hurt yourself. You'd bind your head until it hurt because you felt that you could be more creative that way. You do not need that.
No, now every of these disappear because every of my libido now is sublimated in the religion and the mysticism.
Well, there's one story about yourself I'd like to ask you about before you go. When you were courting your wife, Gala, you did an unusual thing. As you've described it, you smeared your body with your own blood from a cut. You tore your clothes, and then you rubbed a jar of evil-smelling fish glue all over yourself, and you planned to present yourself this way in front of your future wife. Why did you do that?
Because in this moment, believe that in this moment, Dali is true, is almost crazy. Before met Gala, my brain is very close of one psychopathologic brain.
Your brain, yes.
And in this moment, like it, seduce Gala in the most terrific manner. He believe that the smell is the more attractive manner for seduce Gala. Gala becoming in love with me, it is probably the real Gerishon. Gala create the real mysticism or the real classicism of my actual life.
And you have been married now to Gala for how many years?
Oh, perhaps 20 or more.
I see. And
but
since
still in love with Gala, more in the beginning. There also is something that nobody believes. Perhaps is Dali never make love avec one other woman que Gala.
in 20 years.
And the people never believe because everybody one day.
Why shouldn't we believe? It's the most sensible thing in the world.
Yes, but there's no. Myself believe is very frequent, but the other people told me it's very exceptional.
Well, I don't think perhaps as exceptional.
And now my obsession is the chastity, because I believe that the chastity is the more powerful thing for me.
Dali, I certainly thank you for coming and spending this time. I'm looking forward to the publication of your new book, Dali, which will be published in the fall, and I understand will have a good many color plates of your paintings in it. Thank you, Dali.
Merci.
To those who raise eyebrows or look down their noses at him, Salvador Dali bristles his remarkable mustache with equal disdain. As he puts it, I cannot understand why human beings should be so little individualized, why they should behave with such great collective uniformity. He says, I do not understand why, when I asked for a grilled lobster in a restaurant, I'm never served a cooked telephone. I'll be back in a moment with a special announcement about future plans. Tonight's interview ends my series, which started a year ago for the Philip Morris Company, the makers of Philip Morris, Parliament, and Marlboro cigarettes. And I want to thank the Philip Morris Company sincerely for helping me to bring you these programs. Next Sunday evening at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Saving Time on many of these stations, I'll start a new interview series devoted to the theme of freedom and survival. The series will be produced in cooperation with the Fund for the Republic and will be designed to encourage public discussion of freedom and justice. We're going to talk about the problems of the individual in his relationship to big government, big business, and big labor. We're going to examine the growing power of political parties and pressure groups. We'll talk about the responsibility of our mass media, newspapers, magazines, motion pictures, and television. We'll discuss these issues with such men as Supreme Court Justice William Douglas, Aldous Huxley, author of Brave New World, industrialist Cyrus Eaton. Next Sunday night on the first program, We'll open the series with an examination of religious skepticism, of the conflict between church and state, of religion and morality in American life. Our guest, you see him behind me, will be one of the world's leading religious thinkers, the Protestant theologian, Dr. Reinhold Niebuhr. We'll ask Dr. Niebuhr why he charges that our current religious revival is essentially meaningless. We'll find out why Dr. Niebuhr says that religion can never abolish injustice and evil in society. That's next Sunday at 10 on many of these stations. Till then, Mike Wallace, good night.
The Mike Wallace interview has been brought to you by the new High Filtration Parliament. Parliament, now for the first time at popular price.
Look for brand names when you shop. You'll always be satisfied. See the unusual on You Asked For It tomorrow on ABC Television Network.